Nepal's population has crossed 29 million as the government released the full report of the 12th national census today. The average annual growth rate has gone down to 0.92%, which has concerned many as the country is in a need of more working age population. Good evening, I am Praram Badhal. Let's begin with the main stories. Population growth rate limited to 0.92%. 53% of the total population residing in Tarai, with only 6% in the mountains. Government begins preparation of laws after victims of loan sharks leave for Kathmandu for the third time. Sentence of up to 7 years being worked out. India's parliament disqualifies senior opposition leader Rahul Gandhi a day after he was sentenced to 2 years in a prison defamation case. Congress leaders protest march in Delhi. And departmental club APF secures second successive win at the Lalitpur Mayor's Women's Championship. C of Sudur Paschim by 15 runs. Koshi secure a 7-wicket win over Lalitpur. Basanta Kuwar has been appointed the Inspector General of Police by today's meeting of the Council of Ministers. Now, following the government decision, Kuwar will assume the responsibilities of the 30th Inspector General of Nepal Police from tomorrow. Prior to this, Kuwar, alongside Tek Prasad Rai, Deepak Thapa, Shyamlal Gyawali and Kiran Bajracharya had been promoted as the AIGs on Wednesday. If the current arrangement of a 30-year service term for Nepal Police continues to exist, Kuwar will retire in 2 years. He now faces the challenge of curbing crimes and ensuring peace in the country alongside sound management of the institution. Increasing political intervention in Nepal Police is likely to be the main challenge for the new IGP alongside cross-border crime, criminal activities at the airports, cybercrime, human trafficking, drug smuggling and fake notes. The annual growth rate of Nepal's population has become the lowest in 8 decades. The population growth rate in the previous census, which stood at 1.35%, has reduced to 0.92%. And this data has increased concerns regarding the lack of young productive population required for development of the country. The final data of the national census made public today shows the total population of Nepal stands at 29,164,578. The 12th national census has shown significant improvement in social, economic and political, in fact population-related indicators. Making public the report of the national census, Prime Minister Pushpa Dahal accepted the fact that reduction in population growth rate was of concern regarding development aspirations of the country. The population density has reached 198 per square kilometers. Kathmandu has the highest population density with 5,169 per square kilometer, while Manang district in Gandaki province has the least at 3 persons per square kilometer. The urban population is 66.17%, while 33.83% of the country's population lives in the rural regions. Around 2.2 million Nepalis are living abroad. The number stood at 1.9 million 10 years ago. The active or productive population currently stands at 61% of the total population at 18 million. The population growth rate has dropped below 1% because of increasing urbanization and youth aspiration of foreign employment. The government has begun paying attention to the problem of victims of loan sharks only after they began heading for Kathmandu. The government has begun preparations for formulation of legal procedures to take action against the loan sharks. Now, despite assuring the victims of addressing the issues in the past as well, the government had been citing lack of laws to take actions. Prime Minister Pushpa Dahal has held conversations with Secretary at the Ministry of Law Dhanaraj Gyawali and expressed interest regarding the procedure for formulation of laws against loan sharks. He also directed for proceeding with works for the draft of laws to curb crimes related to such loans. Prime Minister Dahal, who is also shouldering the responsibility of the Ministry of Home Affairs at the moment, seems to have grown serious about the issue after the victims of loan sharks began their journey to Kathmandu on foot. The Ministry of Home Affairs had already forwarded the report on curbing crimes related to loan sharks to the Ministry of Law. However, according to officials at the Home Ministry, the Ministry of Law had ignored the issue so far. Following the directive of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Law has made preparations to furnish a draft at the Council of Ministers within the period of 1 week. Victims of loan sharks who had left on foot from Bardibas 8 days ago to share their grievances with the government have reached Vimfedi of Makwanpur. Such victims from Jhapa, Saptari, Siraha, Dhanusa, Mahottari, Sarlai and Koilali gathered in Mahottari before leaving for Kathmandu on foot. They are likely to arrive in Kathmandu on Monday. The government has so far been citing the absence of laws to ensure justice for these victims. The Ministry of Law is making preparations to introduce a sentence of up to 7 years for loan sharks in the draft, which will be endorsed as a law after approvals from the Council of Ministers and the House of Representatives. The federal government has spent its 3 months in changing the political equation. The government is yet to gain a full shape. Similar to the federal government, change in equations has also been witnessed at the provinces. The parties from the ruling coalition have begun joining the government at provinces with chief ministers from the new ruling alliance, while support is being withdrawn at provinces led by CPN-UML. Bagmati Chief Minister Shalikram Jamakhotel, who was appointed on the 9th of January, has received the vote of confidence twice within 2 months. While province ministers from CPN-UML have furnished their resignations, Bagmati is likely to be engaged in reshaping the Council of Ministers in the coming days. The situation is complicated in Gandaki as well. Members of the province government from CPN Center have withdrawn their support to the CPN-UML-led government and furnished their resignations. The political equation of the center is making preparations to emulate the share of cabinet in Gandaki. Lumbini province government is also at the verge of change. However, Nepali Congress and CPN Center are yet to reach an agreement on power share in Lumbini. In Sudar Paschim, the province government has secured the vote of confidence but is yet to give a full shape to the Council of Ministers. Karnali province government is led by CPN Center, where CPN-UML is yet to withdraw its support. Talks have, however, begun for the change in political equation in Karnali. The most complicated equation has appeared in Koshi. CPN Center leaders have begun stating that the government is not likely to change in Koshi as votes are not adequate for change in leadership. Madhya province is currently led by Janata Samajwadi Party. However, impact of national politics is likely to be witnessed in Madhya as well. Experts are of the opinion that regular change in political equations is likely to delay the development of the provinces. In our public voice segment, we have asked what should the government do to solve the problems of the victims of loan sharks. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
बैंकहरुमा केही साना किसान अथवा गरिबहरुका लागि पनि केही जुन हुन्छ नि कि छुट्याइएको रकम त्यस्तो किसिमको कुनै प्रक्रिया बनाइदिनु पर्यो।
ब्याज सस्तो गर्दिनु पर्यो।
सरकार आफ्नो जुन छ नि राष्ट्रिय वाणिज्य बैंक वहाँबाट लगानी गर्नु।
सरकारको ध्यान आकर्षण भई यसमा एउटा विशेष प्रकारको नीति ल्याइदिए हुन्थ्यो।
गरिब दुखी जनताहरुलाई चाहिँ संरक्षण हुने खालको चाहिँ एउटा कानुन एउटा उच्च स्तरबाट नै निर्माण गर्न आवश्यक छ।
थोरै ब्याजमा यसो चलाउन पाए भने हाम्रो पनि कति सजिलो हुन्थ्यो।
मिटर ब्याजी लगाउने मान्छेहरु छन् तिनीहरुलाई चाहिँ कानुनी दायरामा ल्याएर कारबाही गर्नु पर्यो।
न्यून दरमा ब्याज दिएर पैसा दिनु पर्यो।
25% तिर्नु भन्दा चाहिँ हामीले अब 8% 10% सरकारहरुले दिनु भयो भने चाहिँ हामीलाई हामी दुखीहरुलाई चाहिँ अलि सहयोग हुन्छ नि।
छुट्टै एउटा नियम कानुन बनाएर अगाडि बढ्नु पर्यो।
बिना गर्दै हुने नि।
The number of people depending on agriculture for living has gone down by 10% in the past 10 years in the backdrop of rising number of people leaving for foreign employment and growing service sector. And despite the increasing contribution of remittance and service sector, experts say the economy has failed to grow as expected. Based on the National Census report released today, 50.1% of the population above the age of 10 years are dependent on agriculture sector, which 3 decades ago was 81.23%. Of the 14,983,310 population active in economic activities, the highest 57.3% are engaged in agriculture, forest and fishery. 8.1% are engaged in construction sector, 3.9% in other services and 3.8% in industrial production. Of the total number of families, 9.4% are engaged in small and cottage businesses. Likewise, 3.9% families are still deprived of radio, television and phone services. 96.1% have at least one of these services. 73.2% have cell phones, 49.4% have television and 37.8% have internet facility. 92.2% households have access to electricity, up from 67.3% a decade ago. However, 51% households still rely on firewood for cooking. 767,000, which is the 6.95% of the working age group, are unemployed in Nepal. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we asked, what do you term the government decision to provide compensations for ineligible members of the People's Liberation Army? 17% were for A, commitment towards the peace accord, 60% were for B, self-serving decision, and 23% were for C, relief for the victims. Here is our today's question. What should be done to put an end to the exodus of athletes? Your options are A, adequate facilities at home, B, regular tournaments, and C, improvements in regulating entities. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It is now time for the international update. India's parliament has disqualified senior opposition leader Rahul Gandhi a day after he was sentenced to 2 years in prison in a defamation case. A parliament notice said that Mr. Gandhi stands disqualified from the membership of Lok Sabha, alluding to the lower house of the parliament. He was convicted by the court for 2019 comments about Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi's surname at an election rally. Gandhi was a Congress party MP from Wayanad in the state of Kerala. He remains on bail for 30 days and has said he will appeal the verdict given by a court in Gujarat state. Gandhi's party had termed the verdict erroneous and unsustainable and pledged to fight the disqualification both legally and politically. On Friday, the Congress led opposition leaders in a protest march in the capital, Delhi. Visuals showed heavy security in the Vijay Chowk area outside the parliament as the opposition leaders stepped out carrying a large banner that read "Democracy in Danger." TV channels of India reported that a few lawmakers were detained as security personnel stopped them from leaving the area. It is now time for the sports news.
Sports news.
Koshi province have marked a winning start at the Lalitpur Mayors Cup women's cricket tournament as they saw off hosts Mayors 11 by 7 wickets. Lalitpur 11 won the toss and elected to bat, where they were bowled out for 65 runs in 16.5 overs. Opener Lakshmi Chaudhary top scored with 23 runs, while Manisha Upadhyay added 10, and none of the other batters scored in double digits. Nisha Shah picked 3 wickets, Apsari Begum had 2 scalps, while Alisha Khadia and Sabnam Rai shared a wicket apiece. In reply, Koshi chased the target of 66 runs in 12 overs, losing only 3 wickets. Rubina Chetri scored 13, Smriti Katwal added 9 runs, while Apsari Begum remained unbeaten at 29 runs. Koshi received 14 runs in extras. Asmina Karmacharya picked 2 wickets, while Kritika Marasini had 1 scalp. It was the second defeat of the tournament for organizers Lalitpur 11. Meanwhile, Armed Police Force Club have secured their second win at the tournament. Sita Rana Magar displayed an all-round performance as APF saw off the contenders Sudur Paschim province by 15 runs. After being put to bat, APF posted 121 runs for the loss of 2 wickets in their 20 overs. Sita remained unbeaten at 52 runs from 59 balls. Her innings included 7 fours. Opener Jyoti Pandey was out at 13 runs. Sita and Indu Verma then added 80 runs for the second wicket. Indu was out at her individual score of 45 runs. Ishwari Besta picked 1 wicket for Sudur Paschim. In reply, the province team were restricted to 106 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. And despite scoring 51 runs, Kavita Kuar could not ensure a win for her team. Kavita Joshi scored a quick-fire 26 runs from 17 balls, while Samjana Khadka added 17. Suman Besta picked 2 wickets, while Sita and Indu shared a wicket each. With 4 points from 2 matches, APF have climbed atop the standings, while Sudur Paschim have 2 points from 2 matches. Sagarmatha Youth Club Morang are up against Church Boys United tomorrow in the title decider of the Itahari Gold Cup. Ahead of the match, both the sides have expressed confidence in lifting the cup. Speaking at the pre-match press conference in Itahari, defending champion Sagarmatha's coach Yam Gurung said his team will take to the field with an effective strategy. Gurung also said his side had entered the tournament with the aim of defending their title. Majority of the players of Sagarmatha also play for A-division side Kumaltar. Sagarmatha had defeated Machindra Football Club 3-1 to book their place in the tournament final. Meanwhile, this is the first final for Church Boys since being promoted to the A division. Coach Pradeep Humagai has said the team expects for the final to be challenging and competitive. Speaking during the pre-match press conference, Church Boys captain Milan Rice said the semi-final win had boosted the team's confidence and that the tournament had further helped the club prepare for the A-Division League. Church Boys had defeated departmental team Tribhuvan Army Club 1-0 in the semi-final. The final of the tournament will be played at 3 p.m. tomorrow in the Ithari Stadium. It's Bhutan against Laos tomorrow in the second match of the Prime Minister Three Nations Cup. The match between the visitors has been slated for 6 p.m. kickoff at the Dashrath Stadium. This is the first match for Bhutan tomorrow, while Laos had faced a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Nepal in the first match. Laos had maintained good ball possession and created plenty of opportunities, but had lacked in finishing in their first match, which they will look to improve in tomorrow's clash. A win tomorrow is crucial for Laos to keep their hopes alive for the final. Bhutan, meanwhile, will book their place in the final with a win tomorrow and still have one match in hand. Even if tomorrow's match is held to a draw, Bhutan will still have a chance to enter into the finals. Bhutan will play against Nepal on Tuesday next week. The winner of the tournament will be awarded a cash prize of $5,000. Up next is the weather update. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.